Good evening, everyone. I am Jonathan Nace, and I would like to welcome you to McIntosh's 2017 commencement ceremony. Tonight is a celebration of the achievements of our entire graduating class, but I have the honor and privilege to introduce an outstanding chief, our Salutatorian. Many of you know him from the variety of ways he impacts our school and community. Within McIntosh, his dedicated studies have helped him to achieve academic success. He earned a place in the Government Honors Program, gained distinction as a National Merit Finalist, and contributed to the success of our math and academic teams. In addition to these achievements, he maintained an active role in many clubs and societies at McIntosh. In his senior year, he participated in varsity tennis and was the captain of the club roller hockey team. He served in the Triumvirate of Latin Club and as the president of both National Honor Society and the Mathematics Honor Society, making him almost as presidential as our fellow graduate, Connor Whittle. On top of the demands of these activities in his rigorous course schedule, he still finds time to dedicate to helping our community. Locally, he volunteers as a student coach in the Peachtree City Youth Hockey League, and he serves as a youth leader for the Evergreen Church Sunday School. However, I admire this student most for a completely different reason. Despite all of the different activities and distractions that pulled his life in a million different directions, he always upheld a vibrant, optimistic personality that brightened the days of many students, including myself. I have never heard him complain about what needed to be done, and his willingness to help others makes him one of the best students and perhaps one of the best people that I know. I am certain that we all can agree that Bethel University will be very lucky to have him next year. With this thought, it is my pleasure to introduce the salutatorian of our class of 2017, John McCauley.
Thank you, Jonathan, for that kind introduction. That rocks. For anyone who doesn't know Jonathan, he is a fantastic student, teammate, and friend. He is easily one of the most kind, considerate, humble, and intelligent people I know, and it has been my privilege to have him as a friend for 7 years throughout Booth and McIntosh. You truly are, and always have been, Jonathan Nace, the science ace. It has been a long, complicated, and sometimes arduous path to get to this point for all of us. So I'd like to open with a few thank yous. Thank you, God, for following us with unconditional love and undeserved forgiveness throughout our paths, and help us to follow your path better every day. Amen. Thank you to every parent, family member, teacher, and role model of these graduates. You have raised amazing young men and women, and none of this would be possible without you, your advice, and your example. Thank you to everyone who helped me with this speech. I will remember you all fondly by the sharing preferences on the Google Doc I wrote it on. Thank you to every classmate and friend who has made the last 4 years of my life unforgettable. If you ask for a shout out, this is it. Finally, thank you to every graduate who has decided to join our nation's military. Your sacrifice, courage, and honor exemplify the qualities that have made America the home of the brave for over 2 centuries. Looking back over high school and preparing for future adventures really helps us to acknowledge how much of an epic journey daily life is. This journey of life was most often taught to us in our literature classes. However, mathematics can also logically and concisely display 2 important qualities of life's paths. For those of you that know me, you will not be surprised that I wrote my graduation speech on math. However, I believe its lessons can be practical and sometimes even inspirational. I realize that math is not often considered elegant, and I know many of us have looked forward to graduation specifically as the end of math, but I hope I can change that if only just a little bit. Math is really good at describing analytical, objective things. However, life as a whole is completely the opposite. To bridge this gap, we can imagine life as one long graph with its ups and downs stretching through time. We all have high points low points, and horizontal stretches where life appears to flatline in between. So we have birth, then maybe a broken bone. Beginning of high school, braces. Getting a license, and inevitably getting a ticket. And now we're here at graduation. We can see how all these points are connected by a curved path. Tonight, I want to focus not on the present high point of graduation, but on this connecting path and all its individual moments which led us here and made it so special. Now, 2 theorems of math taught in McIntosh's very own calculus classes can help us to study this idea more. The mean value theorem is based on the average rate of change over an entire interval, and it says that at least one point must have exactly this rate of change for an instant. Although this definition can be pretty dense at first, this theorem's lessons are actually more easily seen in life. In high school, this average rate of change, this slope, is how far all of us have come during our time at McIntosh over the 4 years we have spent here. Clearly, during this time, our lives graphs have risen because we started here as small, scared, and honestly pretty stupid freshmen, and have grown to be more mature and prepared young adults. Given this growth at McIntosh, the mean value theorem promises that at least one point in a student's high school career perfectly reflected this maturing and growing. Whether this growth came in the form of long nights of studying or gallons of sweat on a field or anything else, we didn't just become graduates all of a sudden. We worked for this. However, our paths do not end at this coordinate. We each must decide how we want our future to shape up. I hope every one of us aims for continued progress because I know every one of us is capable of it. The mean value theorem reminds us, even after tonight, that if we are to progress in our lives, our careers, or even our hobbies, if we are to make any positive gain in a graphical life, we must fight through the trying moments that lead us there. Progress takes work. If we want to climb, sooner or later we must start walking uphill. We do not need to be afraid of these tough times because we have already started to prove our endurance in high school. Instead, we need to embrace them as indicative of progress. The mean value theorem reminds us during these difficulties that battling uphill is the only way we get anywhere, the only way we progress to the next point. And I believe this makes the hike a little bit more bearable with the purpose in mind. All right, so 1 theorem down, 1 to go. Although the mean value theorem tells us how the change between moments impacts our journeys, the intermediate value theorem focuses on the journey itself. The intermediate value theorem states that for a graph to pass from one height to another, it must cross every height between these endpoints. This theorem explains the significance of the little points sandwiched in the middle. We can see this brilliance of the in-between throughout our journeys in high school. I know when I try to pick a favorite memory from high school, I struggle to find the perfect moment. I thought one of my favorite memories would be in hockey. However, I quickly realized that the moments I expected to be most memorable, like championships, did not represent my whole experience. Instead, my favorite memories, the ones that truly remind me of the great experiences of high school, were little times of practices or car rides or team subway runs that I never expected to be so important. Some of the most special moments in high school weren't the dramatic highs or lows, but rather the simple moments, stuck right in between. The casual moments with friends or family that we might easily overlook. In this way, the intermediate value theorem is the idea of the almost unnoticeable steps of journeys. The moments passed as we wait for the next high point or dread the next low one, and the little pieces that prove to be unforgettable while still on the surface unremarkable. Like the mean value theorem, this idea has a device for our future paths too. The intermediate value theorem tells us to not overlook the small, unique, and special moments that pass by every second because we are too focused on a distant destination. Don't get me wrong, focus and drive for long-term goals are important. But what is the point of a fantastic journey if we never realize how precious one moment can be? Even though none of us would have made it to graduation without the drive and perseverance to succeed, this end to high school would have been far less special if we had ignored all the other high points of laughter, low points of sadness, and spectacular horizontal stretches that seemed so mundane. I hope I've somewhat convinced you that math can help explain the journey of life, but if not, I can restate the advice of these theorems without any mention of graphs or intervals or slopes, and we can all pretend like I didn't just deliver a whole graduation speech about mathematics. First, don't be afraid to embrace a grueling trek uphill every now and again, because that is the only way we can climb. Second, don't miss out on the special moments packed in along the way. Take time to look around and enjoy the unremarkable and the uncomfortable that foster and enrich the milestones of life. Congratulations, graduates, on a spectacular journey through high school. I wish you all the best as you continue on from here. Per angusta ad augusta, through the narrow road to the heights. Thank you.